show tonight. First, before we talk to Attorney Lin Wood, we have other big news. It appears the Mueller probe is finally wrapping up. Sources telling the Fox News channel the investigation is, quote, near the end game. And while the Department of Justice, the special counsel's office, have declined to comment, even fake news CNN, maybe they got something right. They're reporting Mueller could submit his findings to the Attorney General, Bob Barr, as early as next week. Earlier today, the president had a lot to say about the release of the report, saying that it is all in the hands of his new Attorney General, not him. And Justice Department rules say he decides. And according to special counsel regulations, Mueller will provide a confidential report to the Attorney General, Bob Barr, explaining the decisions reached by the special counsel. Next, the Attorney General will notify the chairs and ranking members of the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, quote, upon the conclusion of the special counsel's investigation. It is totally in the hands of the Attorney General and his alone to decide what, if any, details can be released in compliance with the law. He can control the timing of that notification over, quote, legitimate investigative or privacy concerns. Now, also remember, these regulations, they were presented to Congress, 2 decades ago by Democrats. Janet Reno, the AG, Deputy AG Eric Holder. That was after the Starr investigation. They were designed to make the special counsel more accountable to the public. But now, ironically, these same people who were outraged at Starr's authority and the release of that report are the same ones wanting to give Mueller free rein over President Trump. By the way, next week, the president and we will be with him. We'll have an interview with him in Vietnam, an important summit about the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula with Kim Jong-un. Would it not be wholly inappropriate to actually release the findings when the president's out of the country participating in these high-stakes negotiations on such an important topic? Well, we also know, and I've always suspected, maybe I'll be proven wrong, Mueller's team of Democrats would love to undermine the president in any way they can. We'll have more on this later in the show. Also, huge breaking developing news by Sarah Carter and John Solomon. But first, joining us.
He's a tremendous man, a tremendous person who really respects this country and respects the Justice Department. So that'll be totally up to him.
Yeah, and by the way, Democrats, Janet Reno, Eric Holder, they were pushing that. President Trump earlier today making it clear that it is up to the Attorney General, William Barr, on whatever release or no release of Mueller's findings. Tonight, we do have major developments. Hannity watch on the deep state. Unelected bureaucrats caught trying to undermine President Trump, first to prevent him from getting elected and then to undermine his election and undo the will of the American people and their blind loyalty to James Comey. All right, with our reports tonight, Sarah Carter and John Solomon reporting. Former top FBI lawyer James Baker believed the Clintons' use of a private server was, in fact, enough to secure an indictment and charge her for violations under the Espionage Act. And I'll add, deleting subpoenaed emails is another thing. Baker suspiciously changes his mind after discussions with Comey. Of course, a Clinton lover and other senior officials. Remember, it was disgraced FBI official Andrew McCabe ramped up his efforts to undermine the president after Comey was fired in May of 2017. Oh, and don't forget, well, maybe we'll tape the president. Maybe we'll invoke the 25th Amendment. Here now, the Hill's John Solomon with his report also about a possible third dirty dossier. Yep, Bruce Orr's wife, Nellie. Yeah, she produced it. John Solomon from The Hill and Fox News contributor, Sarah Carter, investigative reporter. Sarah, let's start with the FBI issue first. And both you and John report this, that Baker originally believed what we all know is a fact. Hillary Clinton committed a felony that was the violation of the Espionage Act and, I believe, obstruction of justice after, and they rigged the investigation.
Yeah, Sean, what's so fascinating about Baker's testimony is that he's going through this back and forth with John Ratcliffe out of Texas, who's questioning him about this. And he specifically states that he absolutely believed from the beginning, when he went through this binder, he was basically given a binder with the classified emails, with documents. He was appalled. He didn't see any other way around it but to charge Hillary Clinton. And he continued to battle, according to his own testimony, with people in his office, along with Comey as well. He had these arguments going back and forth until the very end. And it wasn't until the very end that he changed his mind. But more importantly, when Ratcliffe questions him again, and he says, do you still believe it is appalling what happened, the mishandling of these classified documents, which Baker himself describes as highly classified documents? He said yes. He basically said yes. Even to this day, he believes it was appalling. I think the question is, why at the very end did he
because
jump
the answer
and
is
change?
they wrote an exoneration in May.
That's right.
Strzok, who said Clinton should win 100 million to 0, he'd conducted the interview. The fix was in. She got away with stuff no other American citizen could ever get away with. And then the dossier, the Russian lies, ironically, never investigated, lying to the FISA court, then using it to sabotage and unseat a duly elected president. John Solomon, you report on this as well as the third dossier written by and produced by Nellie Orr, Bruce's wife.
Yeah, I'm really struck today. Sean, early in the show, you talked about how much the story shifted on Covington, how much it shifted on the attack in Chicago. Think about how much these two stories on Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have shifted from what the media originally reported, what we now know today. For a long time, the FBI said everyone was in unanimity about not charging Hillary Clinton. Now we find out to the very last minute James Baker is fighting and disagreeing with that decision. And when we started, we were told that the Trump investigation had to be open because there was actionable foreign intelligence suggesting he was compromised. Now we know that intelligence was nothing more than Christopher Steele and Sidney Blumenthal. And now the wife of Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, after learning what Christopher Steele sent to the FBI, I report that Bruce Orr told the Congress his wife put her own dossier together, put it on a memory stick, gave it to him, and he routed it to the FBI, despite the fact that there are conflict of interest rules that say justice officials should never get involved in cases where their spouse has a financial interest. It's remarkable. This story has evolved so much.
We only have a small sampling of all these interviews. We don't. There's so much information. Do you both agree with me? Exit question. That, in fact, when everything comes out, there's at least probably a dozen people that should be charged here? Sarah?
Yes, absolutely, if not more.
If not more, how many more?
Yeah,
I would say definitely between 12 and 20.
And John?
Yep, the House Republicans who did all these interviews, they're preparing criminal referrals right now. I'm told at least 9 they're going to make right off the bat.
All right.
Yeah.
Real quick, you have sources in the special counsel's office. What are you hearing about what will be in this report supposedly released next week? Real quick.
I think the end is near, and I think there will be no charges against the president recommended.
No Russia collusion. 2 years. Wow. Of media lies, the mob mentality. You guys have been phenomenal. We started 2 years ago this March, both of you breaking open the story. You both deserve credit.